What's up guys, I'm Dan McCright, and today I've got this photo of my great-great-grandma Kate. Look at that photo. I want to take this photo and I want to make it look nice. I want to know what she looked like. So there's going to be a real challenge to this photo, but we're going to get it done, so let's go to Photoshop and get started. Alright, I'm over here on Photoshop. I've already cropped in a little bit and straightened things up, but as you can see, you can really see the grain of the paper. And it's so washed out and there's blotches and stuff, so it's going to be a real challenge. I might even go black and white. I think it's going to be easier to work with in black and white. I'm actually going to go over to my levels here. So, we got a lot of work to do, as I said on this photo. As you can see, I've got water damage up here in this corner. This corner's got some stuff from the photo printed on the back. You can even see the embossing coming through. Also, the eye has some stuff going on there, so we're going to have to fix that. Very little detail in the dress, which was probably beautiful. I think what I want to do first is actually just start cleaning things up with the spot healing brush. I'll fast forward through it here, but I'm just going to start getting rid of some of these blotches and get it cleaned up before I do any AI type stuff. The eyes are really delicate. Unfortunately, there was definitely something here that kind of blocked part of her eye. That's going to be a real challenge. At any rate, this is looking way better than what we had. We started here, now we're already to here. I'm not going to do the outside border right now because I'll probably just completely remove that and do something different. Next thing I want to do is actually use the AI neuro filters here in Photoshop. With this, you got to be really careful. It's just looking at the pixels and trying to recreate what it thinks it should look like. And there's times when it'll make like a completely different face. I mean, first of all, look at that. That's pretty awesome. Eyes are looking a little goofy. Like I said, this one had a problem. Let's reduce the face enhancement a bit. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to keep some of the texture because I don't want it to be like perfectly smooth and it looks like you just slapped on this face on this image. I want it to look like an old photo that's natural, but I also want to bring more detail out. So that's what we're doing right here. So here was before. Here's after. We have to understand that we're never going to make this photo crisp as if it was taken on an 8x10 and had a huge print, because we just don't have the details to start with. What we're trying to do is just make something that looks nice, that represents Kate, who I never met. Using AI tools, I like to be kind of subtle with them because it can really look artificial and really strange. So I want to be subtle and just work it in and do a lot of it by hand. It takes more time, but I think the result is better. It's more natural, because when I look at an old photo, I want it to be the old photo. I don't want it to be a AI artist rendition of that old photo. Actually, I just want to try something to show you AI. So I'm going to select her shirt. And this is going to be very goofy, but we're going to go to, let's see, Window, Contextual Taskbar, White Blouse. I think that's how you spell blouse. See what it can do, because again, there's no details in here, so I want to see if AI can figure out what it should have looked like and kind of add something in there. This one probably won't. Okay, so it completely changed her. Look at that. It like made her a new person, which we don't want. Clearly did not work. So that's a good example of how AI does a lot of cool things, but it's still far from perfect. If you've got a photo like this that you want to have restored, colorized, whatever, maybe it's been torn or ripped, I'll put a link in the description. You can send it to me. I'll give you a quote and get it all fixed up for you. All right, let's look at these eyes. Anytime you mess with an eyeball, you're going to have some trouble. Most of us look each other in the eye, and so we notice any little problem in the eye. So in a photo, once you manipulate the eyes, it can look really strange. This is why AI still can't do this part very well. What I want to do is try to just clean this up and make it look natural. And this one, the pupil is actually off a little bit. So we're going to grab our clone stamp tool. I'm just going to move the pupil back into the middle. Okay, that looks better. So this one, what are we going to do here? I'm going to lighten it up first. This is way too dark. This is a tough one. I'm going to burn the pupil in a little bit. Burn this one in. That's not looking bad. Let's see, where were we at? Went from that to that. Okay, I'm going to go with that. I think that's pretty darn good. The eyeballs are honestly the hardest part. So now let's look at the nose. So we've got a little bit of a artifact here. Again, this is the artistry side of this game. Just lighten it up around here a little bit so it doesn't look like a mustache. So the next thing I want to do is actually see if I can figure out this background before we move on. Just going to try to make a selection of this, like so. Okay, instead we're going to try Content Aware Fill. Custom. Honestly, that's not bad. So basically I just pulled from the white of her shirt. I'm going to roll with that. So we've gone from this to this. Still not positive on this eyeball. Almost feels like it's up too high. Okay, this is going to get really weird. I'm going to try something. Pop this eyeball off. We go back to our levels, and now we're going to really amplify things. So now we can come back in and do some more cleaning. Okay, I think that's looking really good. One more thing, I'm actually going to do a little more dodging and burning, just because I've got the eyes pretty dark, so I need to kind of make sure that they don't stand out too much. You see this little line here and there? Those two little lines show up and they're kind of obvious, so I need to smooth those out a bit. Let's see where we started and where we're at. So we started here, made it black and white. I can always see, just by doing that, I can tell that I definitely lost that shadow right there. Which also means I lost that Rembrandt lighting, which is so beautiful. So let's see if we can add that back in a little bit. Okay, the last thing that I think I want to do on this one is we've got some texture in the ear that looks a little goofy. So I'm just going to come in with the spot healing brush here. See if I can kind of work that through. You know what? I think I'm happy with that. I could keep going. But to be honest, this photo went from something like this to this. Now, how cool is that? This photo is probably from the 1880s if I had to take a guess, because she looks pretty young in here. One last thing, if you've got a photo you want restored, I'll put a link in the description. You can send it to me and I'll fix it up and bring it back to life for you. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.